Rockstar Games has been through a lot, but now it faces a bigger problem. The studio that brought a revolution with Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption and used every console generation to take games to the edge of the technology, to the delight of millions of fans and the dismay of millions of parents.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
Rockstar's heyday of the PS1, 2 and 3 era saw them fire at numerous titles every year that were experimental, refreshing and pushed the boundaries of what was possible. But the Rockstar that once churned out Vice City in just 9 months is no more. Somewhere along the line, the studio that couldn't move fast enough suddenly put the brakes on and is about to release the long-awaited GTA 6 13 years after its predecessor, setting a world record for sick notes everywhere.
I'm sick.
You sure about that?
The studio whose creativity was once unbound has gone down a rabbit hole, with the entire gaming industry peeking into the darkness, waiting to see their latest masterpiece see the light of day. For many, this shift is appreciated, a studio taking its time to perfect its greatest creation in an era when blockbuster games often arrive totally undercooked. But for others, this is not about prideful perfectionism, but an obsession out of fear by the studio that if they release something where they even think a single pixel is out of line, GTA will no longer be the benchmark setter for the industry, but just one of the many open world games on the market. Experimentation was replaced with caution. So why did this happen? What does it mean for Rockstar going forward? And the biggest question, why does The Simpsons hold the answer?
Yeah, think about it.
Formed by a group of students in Dundee, Scotland in the late 1990s, the team at DMA Studios created GTA 1 on a shoestring budget amid a jungle of monitors and pizza boxes, all the while conducting zero market research. And that never say die at all cost philosophy caught the eye of publishing giants Take-Two Interactive, who bought the studio and folded them into Rockstar Games. But even here, their philosophy never changed. A group of geeks banding together, working all hours of the night to create a crazed top-down shooter. The development was as chaotic and as experimental as the games themselves, and the studio's structure allowed that, with other titles such as Red Dead Redemption, Bully and Max Payne developed at Rockstar outposts in San Diego, Vancouver, Leeds and New York. They were a united team set up to divide and conquer, each collective striving to double down on each individual project in their own productive chaos. This approach and the limited technology of the time allowed for a shorter development cycle, sure, but more importantly, for greater experimentation. So for every project that would fail or get banned from the shelves, another would become a cult classic or even a mainstream hit. But whatever happened, Rockstar knew their next big success would be right around the corner. The explosive entry of Grand Theft Auto 3 made sure of that. The studio knew the game had to come, and fast, and so the psychotic breakneck development cycle reached its peak with the creation of Grand Theft Auto Vice City in 2002. The game was developed in just 9 months, the same time it took to make the Baby Jesus.
Baby Jesus. The Baby Jesus. Baby Jesus.
Even for the PS2 era, games would regularly take between 12 and 18 months to make. The crunch was off the scale, but that didn't matter to former Rockstar creative director Navid Kansari, who said, "We always worked ourselves to the bone, but it wasn't coming from the top. We all thought we were making badass shit, so it didn't matter how hard we worked." A sentiment shared by GTA and Red Dead co-creator Dan Houser.
We knew we were making something innovative, but we didn't know if people would understand how innovative it was. And then when we got the chance to make Vice City and to try and repeat it, I think every time from then on, the team was very driven to make something better and to use, it was long before we had lots of resources, to use time and whatever money we had to always put impressive stuff on the screen. Finishing it is certainly, it's tough, but it also is, intensely rewarding.
The development team pulled this off by reusing assets and technologies from GTA 3, which allowed for a quicker turnaround. The game was raw, flawed, borderline abstract, with structureless missions, patchy graphics, wide empty spaces on the map, but it was a home run. Why? Because Rockstar's developers poured their heart and soul into a game bursting with life and character. Chaos personified. Each GTA after that had to be bigger, better and badder, while embracing the chaos of the biggest passion projects in the history of gaming. But not all roads could lead north forever. Off the back of GTA 5, Rockstar Games hit a crossroads. Enter Red Dead Redemption 2. The smattering of experimental shotgun projects took a back seat, and all time, millions and resources were consolidated to create what many believe is the single greatest technological achievement in gaming, period. Thousands upon thousands of programmers and creatives dedicated 8 long years to lassoing this juggernaut. The game is literally a global effort charting thousands of miles, and it shows. Everything from the motion capture, the mud, the weather, the scale, the characters, the story, the NPCs, the shrinking horse bollocks is turned up to 11. No digital stone is unturned. And Rockstar's journey from a studio of live-wire, genius whack jobs to perfectionist curators to this ultra-realistic, wild, gun-smoked frontier fever dream was complete. Red Dead Redemption 2 was evidence that the studio was not playing games anymore. They had left the rest of the industry behind. And now they were making worlds of unparalleled fidelity with lifelike characters. And that dedication to perfection, that switch from breaking ground on expansion and exploration to impeccable graphics, ridiculous detail, and storytelling the envy of Hollywood, placed Rockstar Games in golden handcuffs. They did their job too well, because after that level of success, where next? Once the standard is set so high, there is no going back. The next game has to be bigger, better, badder than the last. Rockstar knows whatever it releases, it has to be the best in class. The open world has to be twice as detailed as any other, the story has to be even better, the graphics have to be beyond what anyone else has seen before, the NPCs have to be more lifelike than ever, no compromises, no excuses. And with that comes sacrifice, most notably time. Then comes, you guessed it, GTA 6. By the time it hits the shelves in November, what should be November, it will be 13 years since the previous entry. 3 Olympic Games, 4 World Cups, 30 MCU films, 1 Brexit, and many children going from non-existence to puberty have all passed in that time. And people were angry about the gap between Stranger Things seasons. Point being, once you put your billion-dollar egg into one basket, risk goes out the window, and guarantee becomes the magic word. As seen by many studios over the past few years, one giant gamble that flops, one big miss, and studios fold, jobs are lost, all while under the watchful eye of pissed off stakeholders. Art turns to a product. But still, a part of me thinks, can you really blame them? Sales of GTA 6 mixed with GTA Online have generated nearly $10 billion in revenue. $10 billion. That's over 3 times more than Avatar, the highest grossing movie of all time. And money buys time, and it also allowed Rockstar to take as much time as they wanted, even after Red Dead 2's release. There appeared to be a little pressure to get the game finished in a respectable time period. They kept their mouths shut and the doors locked. No trailers, no updates, no teases, just silence, banking on the fact that fans would remain loyal. And guess what? They have. But internal pressure is one thing, external is another. Only people with more power than stakeholders are you, the gamer. Well, maybe you're not a gamer. Just assume that. Maybe you are one. Maybe? I'll cut this bit out. With that outside pressure comes a changing of the times in the workplace. The studios now don't have the luxury of a group of scruffy Scotsmen locked inside a pizza jungle, only coming out for sunlight once the game was done. A passion project can only be nurtured to its fullest in a small community. It can't be scaled up. Upon becoming a corporate behemoth, Rockstar did some soul searching after the colossal feat of Red Dead 2. There was public fury about crunch. They cut the fat to improve working environments to what was deemed a modern standard. Overtime was shaved down, toxic leadership was weeded out, and there were more relaxed deadlines. Moves that would help their employees, for sure, but it's a cultural shift that puts the foot firmly on the brake. The term suffering for your art rings hollow when at the top of the tree are overlords happy to let you go if the spreadsheet turns red. So employees are happier and the environment is more considerate. But does it benefit the games themselves? There's a human cost as well. Just look at who actually leaves the industry. Dan Houser and many of his esteemed peers left the studio to start their own smaller ventures with creative freedom at its core. What is structure to many became shackles to them, especially when every time you're tasked with creating a new game, it has to be the most ambitious narrative digital enterprise the medium has to offer. Rockstar changed, and those figures likely left because what they helped build faded into memory. They wanted to recapture the trenches feeling of creativity, chasing elusive visions, squeezing every last ounce of sanity to birth something wholly new on their terms. Big swings don't exist in the corporate boardroom, and they knew it. The days of spending a few million on smaller titles as a building block for the Rockstar Foundation departed with them. The house has been built, and it's the most lucrative the industry has ever seen. Having said all of this, the push for graphical perfection, meeting fan expectation, the cushion of GTA Online, and a cultural shift to management, the most important reason has been saved for last. Rockstar not only sees itself as a premier place in the gaming industry, but as one of the most trusted brands in entertainment, period. Hollywood, Netflix, social media, and AAA gaming are not trusted like they used to be. Each has reached a tipping point with the oversaturation of information, messaging, agenda, and mediocre products, with workers often paying the price for failure. Rockstar was founded as the rebellion to the establishment. It risks turning into the empire. A polished edge, stakeholder interest, pressures for political correctness, a corporate behemoth, the studio risks turning into the very thing it mocked and parodied at its inception. The system, society, and the absurdity of it all. Now it has become the system, despite being desperate in the desire to outrun cultural change. But you stop listening to me, because I know you're still thinking about The Simpsons.
You have my undivided attention.
In many ways, The Simpsons and Grand Theft Auto are kindred spirits. In its early years, The Simpsons was an edgy, countercultural show that satired the cushy 1980s middle-class American family. Its characters were layered, its satire had teeth, and its writing was crafted with obsessive care. But as the show became a global institution, the satire softened. Nothing captures this shift more than The Principal and the Pauper, an episode that doesn't just tell a bad story, it breaks the character of Seymour Skinner. After 8 seasons of development, the episode suddenly declares that Skinner is actually Armin Tamzarian, a random imposter who stole the real Skinner's identity. His entire history, motivations, conflict with his mother, where he came from, are thrown out purely for a cheap gag. Skinner became hollowed out and replaced with a caricature, wearing his own skin. And following season 8, the series treated its stories with less poignancy, with less to say, and the characters became one-dimensional. Instead of mocking celebrity, it embraced celebrity, in a desperate bid to stay relevant. Grand Theft Auto has followed a remarkably similar trajectory. The early games were chaotic, punk-infused middle fingers to authority, messy, uncompromising, without question countercultural. Everything changed with GTA 4. The leap to realistic graphics forced Rockstar into a more grounded, nuanced style of storytelling. Liberty City wasn't just a playground, it was a commentary on immigration, trauma, and the dark seduction of the American dream. Nico Bellic, like Tommy Vercetti and CJ before him, had an internal logic. They had a soul, they had a motivation. His actions made sense because he made sense. GTA 4 proved the series could be more than satire. It could be a character-driven tragedy. Then came GTA 5, Rockstar's own Skinner episode. After the depth of Tommy, CJ and Nico, the 3 protagonist system feels like the writers swapped out fully realised characters for broad archetypes. Michael is the burnt-out gangster dad, Franklin is the generic young hustler, and Trevor is pure chaos, a walking punchline of violence and shock value. They're entertaining, but they're not deep. It's as if the characters themselves know that they are part of a video game. They're just geared up to cause chaos with no allegiances, and unlike the other characters, no motivation. Just like Skinner's retcon, GTA 5 often discards emotional truth in favour of spectacle or self-parody. The characters feel less like people and more like exaggerated templates of what a GTA character is supposed to be. That trend is evident even in their level design. Despite freedom being the big selling point for these games, the missions betray that mission statement. While the older games had more of an abstract structure where you could approach in many different ways, the latest GTA games and Red Dead Redemption 2 hold your hand, and if you deviated would fail your missions. It's an elaborate form of self-preservation, where the fun is guaranteed as long as you do it their way. The Simpsons stopped being a critique of American culture and became a mascot for it, and GTA stopped being a rebellious satire of American excess and became one of its biggest cultural products. Phew! Right, let me be clear. I love Rockstar. I love their games. And when GTA 6 comes out, It will break all kinds of records, just like Red Dead 2, and it will be an unrivaled technical marvel. And after all, that is what gets trust from the fans in the first place, a complete commitment to quality. They can make decisions and rebuff compromises without fear of the well running dry, and they're not the only studio to take years to make a sequel. Just look at Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5. So, what now? GTA 6 becomes the biggest winner in gaming history. Fans are over the moon about the game and call it the best in the industry. Rockstar have been proved right. Slow and steady wins the race, which begs the question, is this the last GTA ever? Will 6 become a foundation to build sequels on top of, in the form of expansions, new missions, new characters, new maps, and so on? It sounds much more feasible than starting from scratch. You keep revenue flowing via subscriptions, battle pass style systems, premium expansions without relying entirely on box sales every 10 years. Maybe the wait was worth it to them because they knew it would be the last time they ever had to do it, and the spirit that built the studio will finally be put to rest. There might never be a traditional GTA 7, just GTA 6 evolved. Every major creative decision will have to pass through the filter of, does this keep people engaged in this ecosystem for years? Every strange, risky idea has to justify not just its development costs, but its impact on the live service model. Perfectionism in that context is more like directing a film. How long can they keep the same theme park running instead of building new ones? My fear is that the world has passed the studio by in its 13-year development cycle, and the studio that set the trend will end up becoming just one of the pack. 13 years for another polished, third-person, cinematic, open-world game to flood the market. I guess to sum it all up, Rockstar is not ruined by any stretch of the imagination, but it has become an innocent victim as well as the guilty party, for shifting from their cutting-edge open-world game design to purely about graphical quality and immersion and storytelling. And with reality comes restrictions. For many whose number one priority is polish and fidelity, archaic escapism that was once the hallmark of the studio vanished, and with it were countless experimental games that never were, such as the Agent game, Bully 2, and a more comprehensive revamp of the old GTA games. For Rockstar, the bottom line became the bottom line, and they've been backed into the corner because of it. That pressure to develop an unrivaled photorealistic world has forced Rockstar to leave behind the abstract escapist madness of previous generations. Rockstar stopped joking around, got serious, and it led them to billions of dollars, but at the cost of their founding identity. And here's the rub, I imagine buyers would be split down the middle. Would they rather an unpolished game come out they don't have to wait half their life for, but that has revolutionary and innovative gameplay mechanics unlike any other? Flawed, but refreshing. Or is it the inexhaustible wait of 13 years for a game that might be perfect in every way worth it? Like a roller coaster that thrills you but it will never deviate from the tracks, set by an industry that demands another safe, cinematic, third-person, open-world cover shooter. I'll let you decide. Thank you for watching.